Hey, good morning. Welcome to Sacred Space Sunday. Or if you listen to the podcast, Nia Center, Educate, Engage, and Empower. Welcome. Thank you for joining us, for your lending your listening ear. We look forward to an exciting conversation today. I'm Mark Christmas, Director of Holistic Wellness and Reiki Master at the Nia Center. Next to me is Naomi Jewell, who is the founder and spiritual director of the Nia Center. Now, Nia means intent and purpose, right? Purpose and intention. So the Nia Center presents Sacred Space Sunday, right? Our spiritual conversations will engage, educate, and empower. We draw from the insights of sacred texts, wisdom teachings across the ages, sages from the past and present, and universal ethical principles for practical strategies for transformation that create oneness, joy, and love. Right? Our transformation model is simple. It's insight plus application equals results. Right? Today's spiritual conversation is overcoming stress and overwhelm. Overcoming stress and overwhelm. Right? The program includes an affirmation, positive presence, mindful moment, spiritual talk, and a conversation to engage, educate, and empower. Next, we recommend the practice of applying the insights and close with a prayer to take you into your day and the days ahead. All right. We've been celebrating community since 2019, September 2019, celebrating 4 years last month. And it's been a really exciting 4 years. And boy, the time has gone fast, hasn't it, Nate? Oh, she's out. I didn't see she was out.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, it is.
All right. So
Very fast.
yes. Couple good morning, Auntie. Good morning, Latanya. God morning. I like that. Good morning, Auntie. Yeah, so a lot of stuff happening in the world right now. And as we look around and we look at the news, you can't help but, notice all the happenings in the spaces and places. We send love and peace to those in the Middle East going through their situation. We pray for our Congress that they get it together so we can have some leadership and some direction moving forward and be able to operate fully as a country. And those in Ukraine, I think that's still happening too. It hasn't been in the news much lately because of the Israel-Hamas situation with in Ukraine. We want to send love and peace to those over there that are going through. I can't imagine what that's like for Ukraine or Israel or Gaza, like being somewhere and just like walking out. You look at the news and just the total destruction that the bombs and rockets have spread across the city. I mean, this whole building's just collapsed. Look like it's unimaginable. So all those who have family,
really,
go ahead.
Yeah, I just echo your sentiments and hold a vibration of peace for the world. And like you said, for the many challenges that we encounter in the U.S. on a daily basis. And like you said, there's much going on in the U.S. politics and divides and othering in the U.S. And at the same time, like you, I count my blessings that, I am not walking out of the door and wondering if a missile is about to strike.
Right.
So
Right.
it's an opportunity for us all, I think, to one, hold a space of compassion and peace, and
Yeah.
also a space of appreciation and thanks.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. There's so much happening in the world. Then looks like fall has arrived. It's your favorite season, right? The leaves are changing, the falling, it's raining. Temperature is definitely changing. It's not in the high 80s and 90s anymore. It's been in the 50s and 60s here in Maryland. I don't know what it's been everywhere else, but I think the cooler air is on its way. The cooler season is on its way. Some people love fall. You love fall, right?
You always say that, but my
It's not
perception.
true.
Summer is my favorite month. I like hot weather. I like it warm. I like to go outside every day, morning, noon, and night, and it's warm. And I don't have to wonder if it's cold out. Summer is my favorite month. I know a lot of people do not prefer that. I'm not in love with internal summers. No, that I don't like internal summers, but the season summer
Are you
is
talking about
my
like
favorite.
heat flashes? It's like hot
Yes,
flashes?
yes, yes. Yeah, yeah, not a fan of internal summers, aka hot flashes. Not a fan. But the season, the earth season of summer, I love. Right, Auntie, are you with me on the internal summers or the external summers? Auntie says I'm with you now. Or both. Um, but I do understand why you say you seem
You
to
always
feel.
rave so much about the fall.
No, so this is the thing. I get why you say that, and I understand why you think that. It is because fall, being known as the season of change, led by the trees and the leaves and the other things that shift and change in fall, that my life has a pattern of big changes in my life occurring in fall. Auntie says, I like summer, no more internal summer for me. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. I've never had summers. I've been having night sweats for the past 12 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, not cool either. Not cool either. Night sweats are not cool either. Yeah. Yeah. And then talking about change, right? Ladies, that's the season of change, right? But fall is the season of change, and big changes have continuously occurred in my life in the fall. So I have a lot of appreciation for fall, but in terms of seasonal weather, summer is my favorite. So
Any big changes
um,
this fall on the horizon, or
there are on the horizon, none to be announced at this moment, but yeah, on the horizon, big changes are seemingly on the horizon this fall too, for sure in my
okay,
life, but not ready to announce any of them. What about for
got it.
you?
Uh, I tell you, I went to a wedding last weekend. Shout out to the Bucks, Nico Buck and Nico and now Anna, Miss Anna Buck, Mrs. Anna Buck, um, son of Eddie and Michelle Buck in Chicago, my good friend and line brother. Just found out though that I just lost a friend, another childhood friend today. So a lot of change in terms of things like that happening. Like I said, life changes. So new beginnings and transitions. Uh, what did she say? Fall. So what did Tanya say? Fall has such a spiritual significance for me. I'm sorry. Things prepare to die, but the death is so beautiful, and then spring is the rebirth. Yeah, Tanya, absolutely. Absolutely, that's a good way for me to phrase to note the information I just got today about my friend from Chicago. So shout out to Mo Skillet, Mo R.I.P. Mo Skillet, man. May you rest in power, brother. Good brother, really good brother. All right.
Yeah, it's a challenge, and that is what I love by um the wisdom shared by the trees as I walk in, on those who follow this broadcast for a while know that I tend to walk in a path near where we live. And this time of year, the leaves are starting to change, though only just recently, like in the last week. I mean, prior to that, I mean,
They've been falling, but they haven't really changed colors too much,
yeah,
right?
but we haven't in Maryland, we're in Maryland, haven't really until this week started to see the leaves change color. But I did on a walk this past week start to see a lot of leaves begin to fall. And it is, as you say, Latanya, such a concrete and for me visceral reminder of the cycle of life. the cycle of life. And I really believe that the trees, for all of the gifts that they bestow upon us, that is one of the keys that is available to us, to the extent that we are in a conscious enough state to notice it, that they are here to remind us. They've been here for thousands of years, and each season, that falling and replenishing, it to me is like screaming at us that yes, we are humans, and so many of us are so caught up and attached to this form and iteration in time and space of what we call our life, this body, this personality, these encounters, these relationships, these things that we know, that we're so attached to this being the one, the only, that, you know, it creates, as you say, possibly a lot of despair for us, where the trees are looking to communicate, and yet there is more, and the cycle continues. And
They overcome the stress and overwhelm.
yeah, they've got it down. They've got it down. Let it go. Just let it go. Like literally to flow with it, with the breeze, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's so much wisdom there, you know, to the extent that we're willing to see it. So yeah, definitely feeds into our talk today. So shout out to the birthdays. So we have a big birthday weekend coming up in our family. Like I said, Sister Nia's birthday is the 19th. Mark's birthday is the 24th. So we've got a lot of celebratory activities for this upcoming weekend. So look forward to experiencing all that with family safely, inshallah.
I'll be the big 5-4.
Big 5-4. Yeah. Every year is a good year. Latanya says, one of my favorite revelations of trees is power of the roots. Yes, the roots. The roots will never be conquered. The roots will completely disrupt foundation, concrete. Yeah, the power of strong.
Nikki, they'll go into your house, and remember, she said it was living in her basement. Tree.
That's right. That's right. The tree found its way into her basement in Chicago. And trees are connectors, and they look to support one another, you know, underneath the ground that we can't see. They reach to one another, and when one tree needs support and nutrients, another tree will reach and support it. So they are a network. You know, we see them as singular trees, but they are not singular, and they do not activate and act singularly. They are a network that is happening beneath our feet, of feeding and sustaining one another. It's really very, very powerful as you look at the way our plant life are exemplars of connection, of interconnection, of sustaining one another, lifting one another, and leveraging your own power to support one another. So, you know, if you're ever interested, it is worth an investigation. I think you'll be illuminated by what you find. So thank you for that contribution, Latanya.
Yeah.
So birthdays, Libras and
each other
Scorpios.
nutrients. I never heard that before. Did you make that up? Did you make that up? Or is that true?
Why don't you ask Google University, the expert in the room? You know, as one of my coworkers says, trust but verify. We say insight plus application equals results. So go do the research for yourself, and then you'll be able to more easily talk about it. Words alone don't teach. So you should look it up and learn it for yourself. Make it your own knowledge, not mine. Where's your little cup? Where's your little cup? Your Google cup.
I know I got the wrong one. I got the praying hand, giving me peace today. I'm dealing with peace.
Right. His cup that says he doesn't need Google. He has a wife. So
she knows everything.
Until she doesn't. So you, as you know, you can always reach us at niacenter@gmail.com. And our next Sacred Space Sunday, will be in November. So we will rejoin you November 5th. But as you know, you can always reconnect with these messages and these podcasts on YouTube and on Facebook. and via podcast. You know, a lot of us are going back into the office, the old RTO, return to office, as they call it. And so many of you
Is
may be
that what it is?
commuting.
RPO?
Yeah, return to office. Yeah. Because we, you know, those in D&I and HR said, no, it's not return to work because people never stop working. Okay.
Right.
We were working at home. So stop calling it return to work. There was no stopping of work. What it is a return to office. So it's a return to office. So many of us are returning to the office and may be engaging with commutes again. So it's a great opportunity to really to set an intention for day steeped in our conversations, or culminate your day so that you can reconnect before you go into your house. Bring that energy with our broadcast. So think about listening to our broadcast via podcast as you commute. With that, you know, and talking about reconnecting, I think this is a good opportunity for us to find our posture of presence, and have a meditative moment. So just take this opportunity to release all that came from this prior moment. Shake off the morning, the planning for the day, the planning for the week, and just an appreciation of now, now, now. And one of the ways that we connect to the now moment is through paying attention to our breath. A human blessing, bodily function, life giving, easier for some, harder than for others. For all, a gift, breath. So just taking a moment to rest your eyes or just focus. Feeling the air as it enters your nostrils and releases from your nostrils. Just noticing the inhale and exhale. Feeling the air. Allowing the breath to slow, not forcing, allowing. As you relax your shoulders, relax your arms, let go of tension in the back. Releasing the hips, relaxing the thighs and the quads, letting go of any pressure or pain in the knees. Releasing your lower legs and feet, light, light, light. Allowing your toes and your fingers to relax. Relax, meaning no tension. Relax meaning appreciation. Rediscovering the feel of the inhale and the exhale. Noticing the breath. This is a practice of allowing, not trying, not perfecting, allowing. Practice. Allowing. Touch your brow, your cheeks. Maybe allow a smile to creep if it feels right, if it feels good. Allowing the energy to flow from your fingertips. Feeling your own divine power. Your own divine energy. So powerful. Allowing. And it is from this place of connection, alignment, and allowing. I send peace first to myself, peace to my household, peace to my community, peace to my country, peace to my continent, peace to my region, peace to my world. For in oneness, we are all connecting. We are all connected. What's mine is yours. What's yours is mine. My world is your world, our world. My energy matters. So through this oneness, I know peace for us all, peace for the world. Peace for this message, knowing it is a divine unfoldment of the one, not my words, but the words of Source. I give thanks and appreciation for all ears, now, later, wherever, whenever, releasing this to the action of all, knowing it is done and it is good. And so it is. Amen. Ashe. Namaste. So as we prepare now in this space, what I hope is peace, and peace leading to clarity, to be open to allow, we offer an affirmation. So Mark, if you wouldn't mind sharing our affirmation for today.
Yes, so actually you can take a picture of it, write it down, or repeat after me as we speak it. Affirmation. I am the master of my thoughts, reactions, and experiences, not circumstances. I release stress and overwhelm. I choose peace, freedom, ease, appreciation, joy, compassion, and love. Let's do it again. I am the master of my thoughts, reactions, and experiences, not circumstances. I release stress and overwhelm. I choose peace, freedom, ease, appreciation, joy, compassion, and love.
And so it is. And so it is. And so it is. We get to choose. And I do choose peace, freedom, ease, appreciation, joy, compassion, love. And just in the reading, I don't know about for you, but for me, it feels a lot better when I read those than to read the sentence that comes before it. I can feel that difference um, in my body.
Yeah, feel the vibration.
Yeah, and it's telling. It's telling. These are the small and not so small ways that you can verify the teachings and why we focus so much here about um, the vibrational relationship to circumstances and the things in our lives, the things we think, the things we do, the things we say, and how we feel about it really is an indicator and a roadmap, a path made clear to what works and supports us in life and the things that detract and distract from those good feelings. Latanya says, go ahead, Mark.
Love that
Mark.
affirmation. Johnny Coleman used to say, "You are the thinker that thinks the thoughts that created the things."
That's right. 100%. You are the thinker that thinks the thoughts that creates the things. The short end of that I love is thoughts become things. Thoughts become things. Thoughts,
Yeah.
in fact, become things. Metaphysical, physical fact. So let's talk about some of the thoughts that become things. Things that I know for me, I don't like. I can't speak for the rest of you, but I'm guessing that you don't either. And that is the subject of today's talk: overcoming stress and overwhelm with stress. STRESS, capital letters, STRESS, 6 steps. So overcoming stress and overwhelm with the acronym STRESS, STRESS, in 6 steps. So you can overcome stress and overwhelm in just 6 steps. So what are these steps? What are these steps? So Mark, if you can help me out, we'll show them for those who are watching us visually, and I will read them for those who are listening. So stress, again, an acronym. The S, see it and slow down to notice the feelings of stress or overwhelm. See it and stop or slow down to notice the feelings of stress or overwhelm. T, try to identify the triggers. Try to identify the triggers. R, relax and reconnect, realign with truth, source energy, God, do a reboot. So R, relax, reconnect, realign with truth, source energy, God, do a reboot. E, embrace positive thoughts. S, soothe your soul. The last S, start fresh and see anew. Overcoming stress and overwhelm with STRESS in 6 steps. Okay, so sounds good, sounds nice, that's cute. Okay, let's see. Is that really real? How does that really work? Please tell me more. Please tell me more. So let's start with the first one. The moment you notice you are angry, frustrated, overly tired, insensitive, meaning being insensitive to other people, insensitive to everything that's going around you, in a sense, cranky, short. See it, notice it, and stop and ask yourself, am I stressed? Am I overwhelmed? Am I angry because objectively, spiritually, something should be making me angry? I'm going to spoiler alert, there's really never a yes to that, even though we might say yes. The real answer is never yes to that. But it's an opportunity to say, overall, am I feeling what we would just normatively call stressed or overwhelmed? So, first S, see it, notice it, slow down enough to acknowledge that you are feeling stressed or overwhelmed. Once you do that, move to step 2, T. Try to identify the triggers. Now, it might be a trigger, but for me, just me, it's usually more than one trigger going on. So I'm going to say trigger/triggers. Try to identify the trigger/triggers. Is it stress or overwhelm that's associated with your work, your job, your career? Is it associated with family? Is it your romantic relationship? Is it stress or overwhelm related with your friends? Some dynamics that are stressing you out. Is it your health? Is it your spirituality or feeling a lack thereof, or what you're being told or thinking? Is it your studies? Are you studying for something academic, vocational? Is the stress or overwhelm associated with finances? Travel. We just talked about commuting. That can be a real source of stress and overwhelm. Is it associated with sleep? Most likely lack thereof. So is it associated with lack of sleep? Which should take you to, what is that associated with? So what is the trigger? Now, once you identify it, name it. Oh, you know what? I'm angry, I'm frustrated. I think it's this circumstance or this thing that just happened, but really the trigger is this thing that's going on with my relationship or all this stuff that's going on with the job. Identify it, name it. Now that's it. Just name it. Do not then continue with a long analysis or an exploration of the trigger, because this thing that's going on at work is, and then this happened and that happened, or the thing that's going on in my relationship, yeah, that's right, because they said, and then I said, and then we said. No analysis, no exploration, no looking for language or examples to justify why the trigger is a trigger, why the trigger has led to the stress or overwhelm. You simply identify it more like a categorization. Identify the trigger. What's the category calling it? Work, family, friend, relationship, finances, studies, lack of sleep, health. Because if you go down this cycle of then exploring the whys and wheres and all of that with relationship to the trigger, then you will be going in the wrong direction. And most likely then you've spiraled into thoughts about the trigger and you're actually back at step 1. because your stress and overwhelm is backed up, and you probably are now noticing that you're angry, frustrated, feeling insensitive. So you're back at step one. And so again, see it, see it, see it. Don't judge yourself. Don't beat up on yourself. Oh, now I see I'm stressed again. What was the trigger? Here, the trigger was analysis and exploration of the trigger. Stop, just identify it. But once you see it, slow down, identify the trigger, then you're ready for step 3. Relax, remember, reconnect and realign truth with God, your source energy self. So after you see that you are stressed, and then you slow down the thought spiral, like we just said, thoughts become things. So you slow down the thought spiral and identify the triggers without rehashing them. Then again, next is the R. Relax and find a way to remember your natural state of peace, ease, love, compassion, joy, all the things that we just talked about in our affirmation. Now, how do you do this reconnection? You just went from being all over here, angry, frustrated. Now you notice it, you named it. How do you get to peace, ease, love? You've got to realign with your true nature, which is your God self, with oneness. And we're calling that oneness means that as a manifestation of source God energy, you have within you, all the creative power of source.
We'll be right back. We're having a few technical difficulties. We'll let her go out and come right back in. It's like the intranets is not playing with us, fair with us. So we'll get it fixed and finish picking back up. Because I'm curious. I know I got some questions, so we look forward to the interactive conversation. I want to know, what about if you live? What if these triggers are in your house? What do you do? What do you do about that? Of course, I'm not a trigger. I'm just talking about myself. It could be the dog, you know. It could be anything. Or if you work with the triggers every day, what do you do with those situations? So I think some good questions come out of this. Good morning, KG. Latanya, while we wait, thank you so much. Just a revelation. I had a fear of failure trigger this week at work. And boy, oh my goodness. He felt the full wrath, huh, Latanya? Hopefully you're able to make up with him, afterwards. Yeah, stress is no joke, right? It can be explosive. It's like a pressure in the balloon. You got the balloon, you keep blowing air in it, it keeps filling up. I used to do when I used to do workshops, I used to do icebreaker about stress, and I would put like the hole punchings from paper into the balloon and blow it up, and I keep blowing. We talk about different things that add stress, pressures at the end of the year, all these different kind of things. And keep blowing until it's really big, and then I have a pen in my other hand. And I said, all of a sudden, poof, and it popped, and all the stuff would go everywhere. And that's exactly how I think stress operates in our life. It's going well, and then all of a sudden it just boom, it explodes on you. So um, I'm grateful though. The stress levels have been a lot lower for me lately. I don't know if it's that I've just got a different attitude towards things, but I noticed that they don't bother me as long. So not that they don't bother me, but they just don't bother me as long. Right? I'll notice it, identify it, and then I guess I do the art of relax it and reconnect, allowing the truth, and then move on forward. So um, let's see if we can get her back in here. Right. I would have to clean up the pieces of paper. I was the facilitator, so as much as I could, but usually we'd be in a hotel or something like that. They would probably clean it up for the meetings, clean up the meeting space, like they did everything else. But we try to pick up most of it. Try to pick up most of it. There she is. You back? Would you stop? Go ahead. Are you back now? Hello.
Yeah, so that was interesting, and actually right on time.
Are you stressing about this?
No, actually, I didn't. It was timely, and I was on the R, right? Relax, remember, and reconnect with
Thank you.
source energy. And so
Mhm.
my computer was not connected with source energy, and in that disconnection, it shut down.
Oh, the power went out. Okay, you were froze. I didn't know what was going on. Right.
No, no, that there was no power. There was no power to the computer, and so it shut down. And
Mm.
once I reconnected it, it rebooted, but it took a moment. It took a moment to reboot. And so it really was literally exactly what we were talking about and how it manifests, right? So I couldn't have come up with a better example if I tried. The computer was not connected to the source. The energy wasn't flowing. It was running on steam as long as it could. And when it didn't have that power from the source and was not allowing it to easily flow, it just shut down.
Your picture
And
is clearer too. I don't know if
and,
that ain't
and
gonna do it.
yeah, yeah. Everything's clearer when you're connected to source. Everything's clearer when you're connected to source. So yes, I am back, rebooted, and ready to get right back into this talk because source was just like let people how it looks in real life, and this really, I mean, it couldn't have been a better metaphor. Um, but in this case, more of simile of exactly what I'm talking about. Because I was saying was that remembering that the truth is that as an individual manifestation of source energy of God, that you are the master of your experience. You have control over your reactions. So I was able to remember that as the computer disconnected and I went off screen, that I was in control of my experience and my reactions. And I felt like anxiousness coming about, oh no, what's going on? What are the people? I hope that. And then I said, oh, there's no need for that. You know what's going on here. And it's just going to take a moment to get back online,
You see,
reconnect.
it was at the first S.
Yes. Right. I went right back. I went right back, right? And so um I had to identify the trigger, right? I saw the stress, identified the trigger. The trigger was the computer shut down. And then I said, oh, relax. Remember, once you reconnect, you'll be back online. And so it is in everything in life. because we can choose to be free of stress and overwhelm. Again, sounds good, but how? This incident is proof positive. I could have had a lot of reactions. I could have been super stressed. The computer was moving what seemed to me very, very slowly in rebooting, but I probably wasn't off for more than, 2 minutes, 2.5
It gave
minutes.
us time to catch up. So me and
Exactly.
Tanya and Keisha had a good little combo.
Exactly. Exactly. And so it's a perfect lead into what I want to choose is freedom over stress, ease over disease, joy over pain. And if you're saying to yourself, how do I do it? Just think of this computer example and know that it is at least possible. That it is at least possible. So let's move along. So we're now on E, embrace positive thoughts. So E is for embracing positive thoughts so that you can create a space for a new thought or a new feeling. And this step is really connected to the next step. You embrace positivity and positive thoughts by soothing your soul. So the E and the S, the second S, kind of go together. So you want to shift your thinking to something that makes you feel good. That might be a new baby in your family, a great travel moment. You may be thinking of someone or anything that makes you smile from pure joy. Just changing your thought is an interruption to those thought spirals that have you in the triggered moment leading to stress. The goal is to interrupt that spiral because when you're triggered, you forgot in that moment the big picture. You forgot, that you are a manifestation of God. You forgot about your source self. You forgot that your natural nature is joy and ease and appreciation, and that everything is always working out for you, and that your circumstances don't dictate your experience. You forgot. And so in this moment, you want to think of something good so that it creates enough space for you to have a new thought to remember, to recall, to reconnect. And it does work best when you catch it early. So in my example with this computer right here, I caught it pretty early. It went off. I thought, this is interesting timing here. Not ideal, or maybe ideal. I shifted the thought, maybe ideal. This is giving me something wonderful to talk about as an example when I get back on, because I know I'm going to get back on, right? So it does work better in terms of the shifting of the thoughts if you can catch it early, or if you've been practicing these techniques for a while. Because if you've been practicing these techniques for a while, then you're probably seeing the stress and identifying the trigger earlier on the process. Because on the other hand, if the feelings of stress and overwhelm have been building for a while, you've been upset, angry, replaying in your mind these things that are the wrongs against you, the things that you don't want, and you've been replaying them out, having conversations in your mind, seeing the scenes over and over again for minutes, days, weeks, months, years, then it can be hard to kind of shift all of that and just jump into a positive thought. So don't beat up on yourself if something arises, you realize it's a trigger, it's something that's been triggered in your life, finances for a long time, family for a long time, relationships for a long time, your kids for a long time. You try to think of a positive thought and it doesn't just immediately go away. Don't beat up on yourself. Again, took a long time for you to get here. You've got to unravel it, but you've begun to unravel it if you have initially seen it, identified the trigger, and slowed down and relaxed enough to connect to that you know that there is something out there for you that is beyond this, that this doesn't have to be your forever state. So recognize it. Recognize it. And then you will need to do some more active work to actually soothe your soul. So, beyond shifting thoughts and embracing positivity, you really need to find some means to soothe your soul, to actively stop that thought spiral that is not supporting you. Exercise may help. You've heard me say these different techniques before. Exercise may help. Go swimming, go for a run, something that requires physicality, that forces your mind to focus on those physical movements. So you can't be thinking about this other stuff. I know this is why a lot of people love golf. Golf is so intricate, it's so many different steps. You really got to be conscious and intentional to make that work. Arm, leg, it's so many different pieces of it that you got to think about, that it clears your mind from anything else, because to get it done, your mind has to be focused on all of these different parts to make it work. And so it is generally with physical exercise. And this is why this is such a great reliever of stress, right? Even in the secular medical community, they talk about relieving of stress. This is the why. So that might be yoga. It might be mindful walking. So taking just a walk in itself may not do it, because you're just walking along and thinking all those thoughts. It has to be mindful walking. And a mindful walk is conscious and intentional. You note each step that you're taking. You actually feeling the feet on the ground, noticing the step in front of each other, consciously connecting to the earth through each step. Maybe you're thinking about the roots that are underneath the ground and underneath this concrete, and how interesting that is. You're intentionally noticing all the sounds, all the sights, not just that there are trees, but that the trees are moving, their pace, the sound of the rustling of the trees, the colors, the smells, intentional. This is mindful walking. Again, it requires a full body connection that takes you out of that thought spiral. You may prefer a sitting meditation, and that might be for you how you get into that space. Or putting on some music that you're going to sing along to, that just puts you in a good mood. I'm a music person, and sometimes that absolutely works for me. Putting on a song, I start singing it, I'm in a space. Then another one comes on. Oh, that's my jam. No, that's my jam. That's my jam. And I'm just in a whole different world. For some, that might be drawing, painting, or even an intentional sipping of tea or coffee meditation. I always remember this interview with Oprah and Thich Nhat Hanh, where he teaches her how to intentionally drink tea, meditative tea drinking, mindfulness in the tea drinking, and is really an example of how you bring mindfulness to everything that you do. Maybe it's soaking in a hot bath. Again, not soaking in a hot bath to dwell in depression, but to just really be in the bath with the warmth, the comfort, the feel, the smells, all of that, to really take yourself into a different split space. You are soothing your soul. You're getting at the cells. You're going into the DNA. You are soothing your soul. This is beyond just shifting a thought when that doesn't work. So anything that soothes your soul completely and stops the spiral of thoughts leading to stress and overwhelm. And if none of these works, the age old, go to sleep. Just go to sleep. Shut it down. It's time for a nap. Now, I must emphasize that self-destructive practices will never, never soothe the soul. Self-destructive practices will never soothe the soul. Using mind and mood altering substances, mindless eating, reactive sex, complaining, and similar activities, they appear to provide you an escape. However, it is actually exacerbating the stress and overwhelm. You do it and regret it. New trigger. You do it and you have to continuously do it, and do it even more to reach the same effect. increasing the stress and overwhelm. The result is overweight, addiction, disease, broken relationships, lack of sleep, on and on. New triggers, increasing the stress and overwhelm. Self-destructive practices cause and increase stress. Soothing the soul decreases and eliminates stress. So soothe the soul, which moves to our last S. Start fresh, a new moment, a new vibration, a new day. Start fresh, a new moment, new vibration, new day. Seeing now through the eyes of Source. Again, how did we get here? Felt stress and overwhelm. We saw it. We slowed down to notice it. We identified the triggers. We relaxed, reconnected with Source Energy Self. We embraced positive thoughts and soothed our soul, which put us in a position to finally start fresh and see anew, where we can experience all the beauty and the possibilities of that new thought, new vibration, new day. It is through alignment and connection with our Source Energy God Self that we remember where our blessings flow. We remember who and what has a say in our life. We remember we are beautiful, divine beings, perfect, even with our inherent human imperfections. We remember, like I said, that everything always works out for us, that we can be, do, have anything that we want, because the law of attraction brings the energy to us that we put out in the world. So we get to decide, you get to decide, stress or ease. Do you want to dwell on what's not bringing you joy, or what is? If you say you don't want to be angry, anxious, frustrated, or overly tired, then follow these stress, STRESS steps. And this is the road to oneness, love, and joy instead. So the application for this insight is to re-listen to this broadcast and implement 6 stress steps. Re-listen to this broadcast and implement the 6 stress steps. And so I will close with one more personal example. And Mark, if you come back on, because you may have begun to talk about this, I'm curious, quickly if you would have something to share, because this is such a big issue in all of our lives. So, this Friday, I had a very full week, and I acknowledged on my commute home, which was about an hour and a half. So that was another trigger that so I saw it. I saw that I was stressed and overwhelmed, and had been seeing it for a while, but hadn't, and kind of taken the time to identify the triggers, but not fully. But all I had done was gotten to the S and the T. Frankly, I hadn't moved beyond the S and the T. And so Friday on my commute, I was determined that I had to get out of this. I had to get out of this cycle. And so I saw definitely the stress. I recognized that the triggers for me were work, travel, and study, those categories. And as I moved through, I said, okay, let me reconnect and embrace some positive thoughts. And so I sought to do that. And this is a practice that I've been doing for a while. And so thought about some things that made me happy. And it was a momentary reprieve. And then I was right back at S. Replaying, before I could catch myself, I was replaying the story of something that had happened earlier that day, and I was right back at the stress. Okay, so the positive thought isn't working. Let me put on some music. I love music. Let me think about what song would I really like to hear, what artist. Okay, I tried the first artist. Nope, that's not working for me. Let me try this. Oh, that's not working. Found another art. Okay. And for a moment, I was feeling good. Then I caught myself. I saw it once again, replaying that same scene from earlier in the day that had been a trigger for my stress. I said, this isn't working. This isn't working. So I put on some of the things I like to listen to that raise my spiritual vibration. I said, let me put on some Esther Hicks and Abraham. And that supported me somewhat. It supported me somewhat. And I tell you that I've been replaying that story so much during the day. And ultimately, it was a culmination of different triggers from the week that I was not able to effectively sustain my starting afresh and anew. And it wasn't until literally went to sleep, got up in the morning, did some yoga that I really soothed my soul. But I sought that out. I set an intention to do what I knew would soothe my soul, which was some time and some yoga away from everything and some sleep. So sleep and yoga. And I was able to start fresh and anew and really shift out of it. And so I give that story as a counter to the computer story. That is because things are just going to come up in your day at any moment, and you can quickly move through the stress steps and get on the other side. For some of these other things that are bigger and have been dominant in your mind and in your thoughts for, like I said, weeks, months, years, days, then it may take some more time. But don't get frustrated and think that stress doesn't work, STRESS. You just need to continue to work it. Continue to work it until you get to the true relax, reconnection, the embracing of the positive thoughts in companion with soothing your soul, and you will be able to start fresh and see anew. And again, all of these are practices. They are not destinations that you continue to use, because right as you get the end of that S and you're good on that, something else will pop up in the circumstances and give you an opportunity to practice it again, and you're right back at the first S. So I close with that. Mark, thoughts?
Yeah, good talk. While you were rebooting, I had a couple questions. What if you live with the trigger or work with the trigger? How do you do with that?
Yeah, I'm sure you do live and work with the trigger. It doesn't change anything, because the thing about these practices, which are really transformational practices and an elevation of our way of thinking, it begins with the acceptance of, yeah, the circumstances don't need to do anything to change for you to change how you feel. It's not on them. It's not. So living with the trigger, working with the trigger, it's not on them to be different. It's on you to think different in those spaces. And how do you find yourself in the midst of that? So, bigger and different conversation about your relationship and whether that's a relationship that you should sustain. That's separate from not addressing whether you should or shouldn't or do or don't. There is the inside of whatever decisions you make about that there shouldn't be stress or overwhelm. There might be practical decisions that you make, but that's different from the feelings of stress and overwhelm. Because again, when you are reconnected and you remember who you are, you understand that we are the creators of our experiences, not that person we live with, not that person that we work with. The only person that controls our reactions is us. It's a hard truth. It doesn't change. It doesn't matter what the circumstances are. It doesn't matter what the circumstances are. So if you want to choose joy and peace, then you've got to find a way to get that there. And then from that place of clarity, you then may make some decisions about situations that you put yourself in or situations that you're aligned with, but that's not coming from an angry place, an anxious place. It's not coming from an upset place. It's not coming from a point the fingers place. It's actually coming from a place of peace, which allows you to make decisions about what brings you more peace. Same with your job. It's not about that person, right? Because once you release it, you might not see it. Somebody can come up to you in the job and I'm sure you've seen people like this. I know I work with some people and people are and the person just sits there. They're not taking in any of it. They're not taking in any of it. And the people, and they're like, okay. And then they move on with whatever. So we actually get to choose our reaction. And then separate and apart from that, you might find, yeah, I love this job, so I'm not going anywhere. So I'm finding a way to be happy and be at peace. Or, you know what, this is actually not what I want to be doing because I don't want to be doing this, not because that person there is driving me crazy. Now you've given them your life. You're not in control of your life.
Okay. And then one more question I have for you. In terms of what was there? Our relaxing and reconnecting to realign with the truth. Any tips on good ways to do that? I know Keisha put a comment in. She tries the EFT tapping to shift. And Keisha, that made me laugh because when I first got exposed to tapping, I was so resistant to it. I was like, no. And it took me maybe a couple years before I accepted it and adventured with it. And actually, I put it into my practice. I use it with clients sometimes. But very powerful EFT, emotional freedom technique, known as tapping, where you tap on these different spots. As you say, comments around what the experience is. I know we did it with Nate for a while. You didn't really get much out of it the first couple of times either, right, Nate?
Not at first. And I had done it, before we did it together. I had done it some years ago. And again, with these techniques, they different times in different spaces, it might not be working today, but might work tomorrow. That's what I use in my example, that some of the strategies that I used in that moment and on that day, they were not working. On other days, they do. In other situations, they do. So this is why we continue to bring you multiple modalities, because the same thing is not necessarily always going to work. And so what I will say is that this model, the RES, the relax, remember, reconnect, embrace positive thoughts, and soothe your soul, they work together, right? So it's not, that these are just distinct, concrete, you do one, finish it, move to the next. These are steps that move in alignment and overlap. So as you relax, because if you don't even relax, you're not in a space to allow anything. So you can't bring anything in. So you could tap, you could run, you could whatever, but if you haven't relaxed enough to open yourself to allowing, then none of the reconnecting, the reconfiguring, none of that can happen. But as you relax, you're going to relax into a space of being able to think about positive thoughts. And as you're thinking about positive thoughts, those things that are good in your life are a reflection of source. So you are reconnecting as you're embracing those thoughts. And as you're doing that, you're beginning to soothe your soul, right? But again, embracing positive thoughts alone, discrete thoughts may or may not do it depending on the situation. And so the more active soothing your soul. And so examples of that are these different modalities, from, EFT to meditation to exercise to just being mindful to going to sleep, take a nap, a lot of different strategies out there, and you've got to figure out what's best for you. The drawing that a lot of people started doing some years ago,
the coloring, adult coloring.
The coloring. Yep, the coloring books. Yep.
And then sleep is the ultimate rebooter. Yeah. I know I haven't been doing well with that in that category lately. I'm not sure why. My sleep has been all off for it's been a couple of months now, hasn't it?
Yes.
I don't know what's the source of that.
Well, this is where we've got to identify the trigger. That's why it's important to identify the trigger. Because if we are in denial about the trigger, we can't get at it and remove it. And again, we don't need to analyze it to understand it or agree with it, but we do need to determine what are the triggers, so that in that identification creates some space for elimination.
Yeah. So very good talk. A lot of good stuff shared. I like the 6 steps, stress. It's funny, Keisha, that you brought up EFT, because I was looking for a poem I wrote about stress And EFT came up in my notes. I don't know where the poem is, but the note EFT came up in my notes before you said that. So, yeah, we know stress can kill, right? Stress can kill. It's real. Um, and that's why you got to learn how to reduce the stress in your life because it leads to dis-ease and discomfort, which can not only be emotional but then manifest into physical symptoms as well. And so, quicker we get ahead of it, the quicker we can get a hold of it and de-stress, as we say, or some things to remove the stress, right? We know that stress is responsible for 99% of dis-ease and discomfort in a person's body, right? Whether it's mental, physical, spiritual, emotional, it's 99%, right? And it causes blockages. It prevents energy from moving through you. So, like you were saying, you were trying to shift and nothing was working. You say, no, that's not a good song. I hate that song. Why they play that? You probably, I can see you going through your little fit in the car, fussing that Siri or iMusic. It can lead to all sorts of challenges like chronic pain and insomnia, weight gain, heart headaches, anxiety, high blood pressure, and heart disease, to name a few. So.
Sounds like you identified that your trigger for the sleep is stress. So now you just got to figure out what's the trigger for the stress.
Yeah, when I went to the hematologist a couple of weeks ago, I told him about the situation. He said, "Well, you have been under a lot of stress the last couple of years, I guess since the stroke." But it's funny because I don't. Must just be internalizing it because I don't feel it outwardly. I mean, I guess I feel it in two areas. I'm noticing things are different, but like I don't feel like I'm irritable with people and things of that nature, to which stress that's usually kind of how it manifests. But this is new, understanding what internalizing it, what it looks like, and looking to release it.
Great. Well, you got some strategy, so you've got to figure out what will soothe your soul, and that's really the key, right? What is it that will allow you to release it, and embrace positive thoughts about whatever is that thing that's your trigger and soothe your soul, and so that's the key, to find out what really soothes your soul.
Yeah.
And so it is for each of us. And I've recently identified that for myself, and I've just recognized this, interestingly enough, in these last weeks, where my stress and overwhelm has continued to increase. The thing that soothes my soul most is what I haven't been doing. That's what got sacrificed in the things that were creating the triggers for the stress and overwhelm, and I was giving them all my time, and the time to attend to those things that were the trigger, I took away from what was soothing my soul. And so there's no surprise then that was my experience.
What was
because
that?
I didn't prioritize. I found a wellness and spiritual and wellness community that I was going to on a regular basis. And I mean, it suits my soul. And as I got busier with some of my other categories, work and studies, then I didn't have time for the community, the wellness community. And so I hadn't been going for the last couple of weeks. And the result is the result.
Mm.
And so when I decided to reprioritize and go, that is what was allowed me to start fresh and see anew. So I got to start fresh, and in this just moment here with all of you live, I am seeing anew. I can't sacrifice what soothes my soul. None of us should. And when we do, we will experience stress.
Good stuff. Well, we've been on for an hour and 15. Yep. We lost a lot of viewers. Yeah, but thank you for those that stay with us.
People can go back to it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's close now with a prayer and send people into their week. And hopefully this is giving them an opportunity to see themselves.
Yeah. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for this moment. Thank you for this truth of knowing who we are, whose we are, the source that is us, that is in us, that is in all that is created, that is abundant everywhere. Thank you for the abundance that is us, that is our birthright, that is our DNA. Thank you for the access to the release, the acceptance and embracing of joy and love and peace. Lord, thank you for clearing our minds and opening, providing insight into those things that would move us forward in a way that would have us be loving and joyful and peaceful and grateful. Thank you for people in our lives that love us and help us to remember these things, to help us to experience these things. Thank you, Lord, for those that are experiencing some discomfort. Thank you for sending peace to them, Lord. Mo's family, Skillet's family, Lord, and this, the stress from his making his transition, Lord. Thank you for that. He's not suffering anymore. We know he had some health issues, and thank you for relief from those. Even though that uh, we miss him in person, but we know that he's with you and with his brother in spirit and in truth. We thank you for the joy of life, the joy that life can present. We thank you for even the challenges, Lord, and your guidance this week as we go through our week in terms of what is it that you'd have us to do and how you'd have us to move and speak and behave and interact with those challenges and those people that we experience over the course of the week. Thank you for guidance. Thank you for favor. All right. Thank you for favor. And thank you for internal and spiritual direction. Thank you for keeping us safe or and our loved ones. Let us be loving and let those that are around us experience your love and our love, your love through us as you. In your name we pray, amen. And so it is.
And so it is. And so it is. Well, thank you, family, Sacred Space family, for joining us again today. And as we always say, we send you out with oneness, love, and joy. And look forward to seeing you in November.
Thank you, KD. Thank you, Laquita B. Dr. Blockson.
Amen, amen, amen. Keep doing that great work, Dr. Laquita B. We appreciate you so much. Until next time.
Peace.